Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Azure Cloud Kickstart. First of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you for being here today. I hope you will get best out of this webinar, which is organized by Strategy Solution. Strategy Solution is as a certified IT service provider based in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India, and it's having a direct presence in 3 other countries. We are a Microsoft Gold partner, SAP partner, Security Waiver, and Automation Anywhere partner as well. And we have a portfolio of 18 plus customers with the strength of 200 plus highly skilled employees. Okay, here are some highlights on the webinar house rule. So it's like presentation will take around 30 minutes. We'll conduct the question answer session at the end of webinar, but you can throw your question in between in the chat window. But we'll address everything at the end. A humble request to everyone to keep your mic on mute throughout the session. You will get the recording of this session on your email as well as Stradley's official YouTube channel. In the future, you can contact us back at info@stradleysolution.com for any query. All right, let me introduce myself first. This is Devat Ajwalia, and I'm a project lead at Stradley Solution and carries 11 plus years of experience in total. I'm mostly involved in client engagement activity as a part of customer project management. I lead Azure and IoT projects along with standard .NET projects. I love to be a part of digital marketing strategies, although that's not primary role of my career, but that's part of my interest. You can reach me out through any of this channel in future. Okay, enough housekeeping, I believe. Let's focus on today's agenda. First of all, we'll go through Azure introduction and services. Second, and the most important part is Azure governance, where I'll be talking about managing Azure account for your organization. Third one might be the most confusing part for most of the audience, which is a way that Azure cost by using their services. Lastly, we'll go through some remarkable services of Azure. Okay, let's start with the first section, which is Azure introduction and services. So here is the book's definition of Azure, which says that Microsoft Azure is an ever-expanding set of cloud services to help your organization meet your business challenges. It is the freedom of build, manage, and deploy application on massive global network using by your favorite tools and framework. But this is something that you can find in book or somewhere on the internet. But to understand it properly, we have to break it into small pieces. So out of this definition, there are two important terms, which is cloud service and business challenges. Hello. Yeah, I request everyone to mute your mic. If you have any question, you can drop on the question answer section, and then we'll cover at the end. All right. So out of this definition, there are two important terms that needs to be understand for the overall Azure introduction. Is cloud service and business challenges. So cloud services is nothing but it's an internet-based services, that provides hosting, storing, and accessing data over the internet instead of your local machine, right? So if you remember, few years back, we used to host our application on the on-premise environment, right? Where setting up everything was our own responsibility, right? Now, this responsibility becomes a challenge for any organization, right? So there might be the challenges like business require the specialized resources, business as a threat of any unexpected expenses. There might be the higher recurring cost, right? Now that this all challenges comes when you are on premises, but if you are on cloud, it's completely different story, right? If you, whenever you are on cloud, everything goes to the cloud provider. All the responsibility goes to the provider. So to elaborate the book's definition, Azure provide such a services that helps you to solve your business challenges. Right now, let's see and compare few Azure services and see how easy it is to migrate your on-premise infrastructure to the cloud. Right. So here are the few major Azure services. Right. Topic. Let's consider the Azure Web App Services. Now it is exactly the same as your on-premise web server, like IIS or Apache. So whatever code base you are hosting on your on-premises, the same will be deployed to the this cloud services, right? So there is no single line of code change. There is no configuration required from your end. I mean, there is no need to set up load balancing or anything else at your end. Everything goes to the cloud provider, right? Now, same like that. Let's consider the Azure Cloud Server, right? Azure SQL Server, right? You're exactly same on-premise SQL script will work on the Azure Cloud Server. Right. Well, there are some limitation as well for few of the components, but at the same time there are alternatives as well. So I mean we all know, right? Limitation and alternatives will be always there, right? No matter you are on cloud or on premises, even we are on premises, there are always certain limitations that we are facing, right? But we always find the alternatives for the same. So even on cloud, there are certain limitations, but there are the alternatives as well. But the bottom line is the cloud has more advanced service than your on premises, right? Now just think of the virtual machine setup. So let's say you want to set up the virtual machine on your on-premise server, right? How much time it will take? It will definitely take around an hour to set up everything, including network configuration and security patches and account creation, software installation, everything, right? But at the same time, if you are on cloud, it will hardly take 10 minutes without any specialist for the same. So let's say if you wanted to configure virtual machine on your on-premise server, you require different expertise, right? The one who is from the infrastructure, the one who is good at the network level, right? The one who is expert at the certain software setup, right? But if you are on cloud, there is no expertise required, right? You can do it in just one or two click within 5 to 10 minutes. So the bottom line here is whatever we are doing on premises, everything is available on cloud, right? There is nothing like which is available on premises and which is not available on cloud. There are some threats regarding security while we are on cloud, but that part will cover in our remarkable services, right? Okay, now I can read your mind that you must be thinking that okay, I got it, but where do I start? So don't worry, I'll let you know in the next topic, which is Azure governance. Right. Starting with the very basic process, sign up for the Azure, which is very straightforward process as I mentioned here. There are only two prerequisites: Microsoft account and the valid credit card. Please note that the prepaid card won't work here, right? Also, there is no charge involved in setting up your trial account, right? You will get a couple of bucks credit to initially play with the Azure service, but they won't charge you anything for your trial account, right? Once you are done with your registration process, you can immediately start using your Azure components. But the biggest thing here is to understand the few fundamentals that helps you to manage your Azure account, because the sign up process is very straightforward. You can easily sign up and you can start using the components. But at the organization level, if you wanted to manage your account, there are certain fundamentals that you have to understand. Right? So basically, there are four fundamentals that needs to understand and will be covering: tenant, management group, subscription, and resource group. Right? So to understand this, I'll start from the bottom, item number 4, which is resource group, and then we'll cover the subscription management group and tenant. Right. One more thing that I'll be moving between this slide and the next slide during this presentation. As you can see, the next slide has a more graphical representation, so don't get confused. It's a same content. The only difference is a presentation. There is a graphical presentation on this, and this one has the content presentation actually. So don't get confused. We are just discussing on the same fundamentals using two different slides. All right, so let's start with item number 4, resource group. So resource group is nothing but just a logical collection of Azure component. So whatever components you'll be creating on Azure will always fall under any of the resource group, right? So now the confusion may start here. So let me give you the step-by-step example. Let's say you are creating Azure account, right? You are doing all the sign up process and you are ready to go and you're ready to play with the Azure component. Now you wanted to create a new app service there, right? Now whenever you are creating the app service or any of the component like SQL Server or any Cosmos DB account or anything, that component always falls under the specific group which is called a resource group, right? So if I give you an example in the layman language, like if you are on premise, you always have to maintain the different environment, like right, dev, test, and staging and things like that. So same whenever you are on cloud, your resource group becomes your environment. But it's logical collection of your components. So for an example, if I'm creating my components, I'll for my project I'll create a different resource group, let's say for development, for staging, for production. Whatever components I'll be creating, I'll categorize this based on the function of that resource group, right? So you can see the example here. There are 3 resource groups, right? The first one is a 3 service, second one is a 2 service, and the third one is a 1 service. So you can consider that this is the, let's say, for the development environment, this is for the test environment, and this is for the production environment or staging environment, whatever it is, right? So it's just a separation of your components. The second part is a subscription. The subscription is a logical container into which any number of resources can be deployed. Now this is again a bookish definition, but actually subscription is directly related to your invoicing, right? It is the way of how you want to manage invoices for your organization, and Azure bills directly against your subscription. So for an example, let me go back to that slide. On this example, I do have a 3 subscription: mission critical, protected data, and the other production, right? So let's consider that this is there are 3 subscription on my project, right? Now I can also keep all these components under the same tree. But the reason I am doing here, I'm doing the separation is like, the first thing is, let's say I mean, at my organization, for the accounting purposes, I have to present the different invoices for the different projects, right, or the different area. Let's say I have to present the business mission critical invoices separately. I want to present the protected data invoice separately, and the other production, resource invoice separately. So in that case, I'll have to create the multiple subscription based on my, my organization's accounts need, how they actually wanted to log the invoices for your Azure account, right? And under each invoices, I'll put the Azure components accordingly, right? So again, don't get confused between the resource group and subscription, right? At the resource group level, we are just collecting all the Azure component into the same group, and on top of it, we are saying to Azure that bill me for this all the Azure component as a single entity. So whatever the components are there under the resource group, they will billing for all of them will go to the same subscription. Now you can have a multiple resource group under the same subscription, right? So for an example, under my mission critical subscription, I again wanted to have a 3 different environment, right? So that is also possible. I hope you get the subscription and resource group. Now let's level up one more, management group. So management group is a container that helps you to manage the access and policy, right? So the real purpose of having the management group is to manage the access and policy at the different level. So let's consider an example here. Under the corporate ID management group, I will create 3 different management group: production, development, and QA. Now, for me, let's say the purpose is like I don't want to allow to utilize few Azure services for development and QA environment. I don't want to consume the premium services for the development and QA. I want to restrict few users to access from the production, right? So this is the one scenario where we can use the management group, right, where I can define the access and policy at the root level. Right now, if I give you another example of management group, let's say at my company, I wanted to have a separate billing and separate access policy for the HR department services, IT department services, and let's say there are few products: product 1, product 2, and product 3. Right? I wanted to have a separate separation at the billing level and at the resource level as well, and including the access and policy level. Then I'll create different management group. I'll assign a different access policy to each group, and under each management group, I'll create a different subscription based on my requirement. And again, under the subscription, I'll create the different resource group under that, and under the resource group, there will be the actual resources. Right. So it's a quite confusing if you are seeing it for the first time, but if you play with it somewhere in the past, then it would be very easy for you to understand, but it may be a little difficult. But to summarize, I would say that management group is to define the access and policy. Subscription is to separate your invoices, and the resource group is to have logical collection of your actual Azure components, right? At the root level, there is a tenant, but we don't have to do anything with the tenant. Tenant is just key identity of your organization, and it's a root level entity which is globally unique. It has nothing to do with any activity of your account, right? But if you are using the certain services, or if you're using the Azure PowerShell services, then they'll ask you for your tenant ID, right? That's where we have to use that your globally unique ID. whenever you are raising any concern with the Azure, or if you have any billing issue or anything else regarding your account, you have to present your tenant ID. It has nothing to do with your actual account setup. Right? If you are setting up your account for your organization, you have to take care of management group, subscription, and the resource group. I hope it's clear. So let's move to our next section, how Azure cost. Let me start with very strange statement, which is Azure pricing is very complex. I personally advise to use the Azure pricing calculator, which is available on Microsoft official website, right? The reason is, the Azure pricing tier is not same across the board, but we can go through few fundamentals here. Like first one, the pay per use. So like many other cloud providers like Amazon or Google, Azure also supports a pay per use subscription model for their services, meaning that whatever you are consuming or using, you have to pay for that. For example, if you are using a 1 hour of CPU time, you will have to pay for that. No more than that, no less than that, right? Second fundamental is each Azure services is priced differently. Now there are a couple of services, right, on the Azure, but each service costs you differently. The reason is the way that we are using that services. So again, I'm taking the example of web apps and the SQL server. So if we are using the Azure SQL server, we'll be more concerned about the storage, right? But at the other end, if we are using the Azure web apps, we'll be more concerned about the higher CPU and the bandwidth. So that's the reason that each Azure service is priced differently. How you are consuming and what you are consuming, right? The third concept here is the pricing tier. So if you go to the Azure, there is a concept called pricing tier for each of the service. So pricing tier is nothing but it just it is just set of capacity of your resource. So again, if we are let's say using the web apps, then there will be the different pricing tier, predefined pricing tier that Azure is offering you. You wanted to have 10 GB of storage, you wanted to have a 2-core CPU, 4-core CPU, you want to have a 8 GB RAM or something like that. They will price you accordingly, right? But on top of it, if you want to customize those tier, you can. I mean, Azure is always open to do that, right? But as a as a ready to use tiers, they've already predefined tiers. You can just go to the Azure and pick one of them based on your needs, and you are good to go, right? But again, even you are going with the pricing tier, they'll only charge for whatever you are using, right? So let's say I'm selecting the pricing tier, which is showing that it will cost me $1,000 a month, right? But it is not the fixed price, right? That $1,000 is the maximum cost of your pricing tier. If you are using for only 2 hours or 2 days or 2 weeks, they will charge you accordingly, right? This pay per use concept is always with you as soon as you are you are on Azure Cloud, right? No matter which service you are using or how you are using or what you are consuming, right? So these are the few fundamentals that we have to understand while using the Azure components. And the best place to conclude your IT infrastructure cost is to go through the Azure calculator, right? You can go there, you can pick up the component along with the capacity you want, and you will have a final amount. I mean, the maximum amount that Azure will be costing you. Okay. Moving to the next one, the remarkable services of Azure. Right. Okay, so Azure has many remarkable services, but I have covered the major services out of it. So there are 3 services that that looks very interesting to me. The first one is on-premise connectivity. Now we are from starting. We are talking about moving the infrastructure from on-premise to the cloud. I mean, how can we move from on-premise to cloud, and what are the benefits, and what else are there, right? But the one question that everyone might have is like, concern regarding your data security, right? There might be the certain data that you don't want to expose to the cloud or anyone else, right? There might be some confidential data on your server, or there might be some services or software that you don't want to expose to the cloud or to the other world out of your company, right? So in that case, you can always have a hybrid infrastructure option. You can keep certain services on your on-premise, and you can use the other services from the cloud, right? And Azure has a lot of ready-to-use connectors which can easily establish the connectivity between your on-premise services and your cloud services. Now, second point is a virtual network. So now, as far as you are connecting your on-premise and your cloud services, the next biggest question would be the security, right? How secure your connection is, or how secure the data is, right? So Azure has a very nice service called virtual network, which provides the cross-premises networking, right? You can easily connect your on-premise network with your cloud network. You can cover it through VPN. You can have express route, and a lot of security that you will be using on your own premises, right? If you're having the express route, there is no way that anyone else can hack your data or hack your connection from your on-premise to the cloud, right? So that's the another remarkable services. The last one is the serverless application. So most of you might be the new. I mean, this service might look a new one. So let me again come with that web app example. That if you want to host the web application, you have to get the server. You have to configure everything on that server. Even right, even you are on cloud. I mean, Azure Cloud. You will have to create the web services. You will have to set the capacity. You will have to set the number of instances to load balancer application. Right? All these services are one click away. But let's say your application traffic increase suddenly. Then what happens? You again have to go to the Azure and have to increase your instances. No doubt you can set up the auto instance there as well, but how about the capacity? Right? You will have to increase the capacity of your server from the cloud itself, right? Now, whenever you are on the serverless application, all your hurdles goes down, right? Serverless applications are something like I would say that you don't have to take care of any of the thing. Just put up your code on the Azure, right? Everything will be taken care by your provider. I mean, the Azure one, right? So like today your application has 10 users, then they will consume the resource accordingly. Tomorrow, if suddenly it increases to 10,000, they will increase the resources accordingly. Now day after tomorrow, if it again comes to the 100 user, it will downgrade your capacity and your resources, right? And at the same time, they will charge you accordingly as well. Whatever you are consuming, they'll charge you for that only. Today, if you have a 10,000 user, they will charge you for the 10,000 resources that your application has consumed. But tomorrow, if there are only 10 users, they'll charge you for that only. Whatever resources are consumed for that to serve the request of the 10 users, they will charge you for that only. So that's the serverless application, that you just have to put up your code. No worries from your end. Everything will be taken care by your provider. Okay, that's all I have for today. Any question, confusion, we are open to I'm happy to answer your question. Let me see if we have anything on the question answer. So far I don't see anything here. So feel free if you have any question, doubts regarding any specific service or regarding managing your Azure account or anything. Okay, looks like we are good. Thank you very much again for being here today. And if you have any question in future or anything, you can drop us an email at info@stylishsolution.com. We'll be happy to answer your question. If you wanted to have more information or want to have more insight about the Stridely, you can always refer to www.stylishsolution.com. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.